For example, as we have Constitution of India Act, which I said that it is a roadmap of governance, you would find what you call the entire scheme of governance. For example, how power is separated among the three organs, namely the executive, legislature and the judiciary. Because in those days, in the traditional society, during the monarchical traditional society period, or before the advent of enlightenment, we had what we call states ruled by kings, and kings would have unlimited powers, and power would be concentrated on a single individual, right? It is the king who would legislate laws. It is the king who would implement those laws as a part of the executive. It is the king who would adjudicate matters when there is a discrepancy between implementation and legislation. So it is the king alone who decides, right, with regard to laws, legislation, execution, and adjudication. Right? Adjudication in the sense that to adjudicate matters, he would sit as a judge. So king as a legislator, he would legislate. King would implement, he would order his subordinates to implement those laws, but he would be the chief executive. And when there is a discrepancy, either in implementation or at the time of legislature, when there is a discrepancy between legislation and implementation, he would sit as a judge. Right? Now, what would happen if a single individual possesses enormous and unlimited power? As human beings, we tend to be corrupted. So, when power concentrates on a single individual, that individual would be corrupted. As a word goes, power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Right? So, therefore, kings became tyrannical, had their totalitarian government. So, the citizen, in those days, the people of a country governed by kings would be called as subjects, not as citizens. So, because they are subject to the king's order. Now, therefore, the king would, if he were a good, benign individual, he would have a good ruling, a benign ruling. Whereas, if he were to be you are a 23rd Pulikazin or Tsar, right? Then his act would be tyrannical, oppressive. Subjects would feel that they are oppressed under the totalitarian government, totalitarian setup of that king. So, during the modern days after enlightenment, scientists, social scientists and political analysts devised a scheme called separation of power, where power was separated, and each area or domain of power based on the work they do is designated as legislature, executive and judiciary. Legislature is the domain where laws would be enacted. Executive would be the domain where it would be implemented. And judiciary, as you know, would adjudicate matters. This is called separation of powers scheme. Now, if you go further, in India we have a federal structure which is called quasi-federal structure. There, power would be divided, would be distributed at the two levels. One at the central level or union level, another one at the state level. Okay? Now, distribution of power is called federal scheme. Separation of power is called generally constitutional scheme. Now here, if you take up one aspect, democracy, because such a constitutional setup would apply only to a democratic country. if you take India as a democratic country, we must know, of course, when we talk about India, we say that India is a democratic country, India is a republic one, India is a socialist, secular one. But the problem with us is that we haven't understood the concept called democracy thoroughly. What do you mean by democracy?